Dave versus Sammy. Next on Music Surgery with Dr. Bob. The Van Halen-Van Hagar debate has been going on for years. Two bands with 3 out of the 4 members changing out a lead singer and an old familiar sound for a new one. Let's take a look at why we love one or the other or both. The Van Halen sound in the early years was Eddie's infamous brown sound on the guitar, Alex's thunder bucket snare with lots of 800 Hz boost, Michael Anthony's underrated bass playing and signature background vocal sound, and Diamond Dave as master of ceremonies in delivering infectious melodies like only Dave could. Let's take a look at that sound and a few of those songs that are cemented in our hearts and heads forever. The early records were recorded at Sunset Sound in Hollywood with Don Landy engineering and Ted Templeman producing. Eddie had developed his brown sound playing through a 67-68 Marshall and a 59 Super Lead with a Variac transformer. The guitars in the early years ranged from the Frankenstrat, the Bumblebee, the Frankenstrat II, the Ibanez Destroyer, and Kramer 5150. Alex has always played Ludwig drums throughout his career, using a 402 Superphonic 6.5x14 snare on the first record for that Thunder Bucket sound and Paiste 2002 cymbals. Later, he experimented with Ludwig 6.5x14 super sensitive snares, Tama Rosewood 6.5x14 and 8x14 snares, Ludwig 6.5x14 and 8x14 steel shells, rototoms, Pearl Vari-Pitch toms, octobons, Paiste Rude cymbals, and Simmons drums. But more on that later.
All right, let's take a look at the multi-track of Running with the Devil. Listen to the amount of bleed on the drum tracks. Definitely in the same room playing at the same time. There's that Thunder Bucket snare right here. And the brown sound. Dave all dried up, no reverb. I don't know if this was the take that they used for the record. Here's alternate takes down here. Sounds like part of it was, but I haven't really listened through to see where the discrepancies are. Famous background vocals. Let's listen to these. No reverb. Sounds totally different.
Running with the devil.
Sounds like Dave and Michael Anthony. Maybe Eddie's in there too. Hard to tell.
Simple life. What's so simple? No. When I jumped out on the road.
Classic Van Halen. Let's find out what that was. Dave blowing on some kind of party favor. Listen to this ping on this cymbal too. All these sounds together just make that classic Van Halen sound. Let's just for fun, let's listen to a couple of these takes.
My life like there's no tomorrow, and all I've got I had to steal. Least I don't need to beg.
Sounds pretty normal. Looks like he's saying something down here in this take. What's this?
Oh! Oh, yes! Little more volume in the headphones, please. I live my life like there's no tomorrow, and all I got I had to steal. Little less voice in the headphones.
Amazing. Old school Van Halen. Not many tracks. And dry as a bone.
The guitar sound did change a bit on the first few records, resulting in bitter debates about which tone was the best. The Fair Warning album is hailed as possibly the favorite and maybe one of the greatest rock tones of all time.
My God. Unbelievable. Tone, time, attitude, effects. It sounds like it's just about to explode. If that's not the classic Brown sound, unbelievable.
The original recipe of reverbed out 70s thuddy drums, Michael Anthony's great rock harmonies and bass playing, and Dave doing his thing remains somewhat similar throughout the first records. The last Van Halen album with Dave in the early years, 1984, introduced two new sounds to the Van Halen palette, synth hooks and Simmons drums. Let's take a look at these particular sounds that somewhat changed the original sound as Van Halen risked being criticized turning pop, but ended up having their biggest charting hit ever, Jump.
Never heard that in a Van Halen album before 1984. So, synth riffs and Simmons drums. So let's listen to Alex's drum sound on 1984, where you can really hear the Simmons triggers in the kick drums. Definitely a different drum sound than that was just one record previous.
Two cliches. All good things must come to an end, but when one door closes, another door opens. And in walks Sammy Hagar.
Comes walking in, some kind of alien waits for the opening, simply pulls the string.
As the world wondered whether the Van Halen boys could possibly pull off a miracle and have success without the world's most famous frontman, Van Halen worked on their new album 5150 with foreigner guitar player and smash hit songwriter Mick Jones helping out to secure their bet. It worked. Not only did the album take off with 5 huge singles, but Van Halen fans flocked to sold-out arenas around the world, and a new Van Hagar sound was created. Eddie's tone was much cleaner and more pop rock for most of the Hagar era, now playing Steinberg guitars and beginning to make deals with Music Man and later PV and EVH with Fender. He not only changed his sound, but the look of his guitar as well. It's also clear that he was using more effects like chorus on his guitar for a more shimmery type sound, and also had his own amp line by PV 5150 amps.
Definitely a different tone than the Fair Warning tone. Different guitar tone between this and this. And this.
Alex stuck with the Ludwig thud and Simmons triggers, but also went for a more ambient John Bonham type sound on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album, even using Led Zeppelin alumnus Andy Johns to engineer and mix the record.
Now let's listen to the ambience on Alex's drums. Again, different drum sounds than this and this.
The other noticeable difference is that Van Halen had an entirely new lyric and melodic presence in their music. Dave's lyrics were somewhat cryptic, and his melodies, though infectious, were limited to his singing range. Sammy Hagar, on the other hand, had rock star pipes with a huge range with soaring melodies, and his lyric approach was less cryptic, with anthems about sex, love, dreams, and living in the now. Let's listen to some Van Hagar era music that reinvented Van Halen and reinvented rock. The differences between the two eras are not subtle.
Got myself a brand new Oakland scarf right here.
Two bands with 3/4 the same members, but a totally different attitude and sound. Each band with stunning results, having huge live and recording careers. Very few bands have ever pulled off having 2 careers with 2 different lead singers. AC/DC and Genesis are the only other 2 that have pulled it off to this degree. Okay, so if you feel like we need to keep score, Roth absolutely wins the Van Halen Commerce battle with 57 million sales worldwide to Hager's 27 million sales worldwide. However, it took 7 albums for Roth to reach that number, while Hager hit his mark with only 4 albums. Of those 4 Hager albums, all 4 hit a peak in the US charts at number 1. The highest charting Roth-led Van Halen album was a number 2, and it took until 1984 to snatch that. He did repeat number 2 in 2012 with A Different Kind of Truth. Sales could never define either of these bands and the incredible music they made. Eddie, Alex, and Michael Anthony changed music forever with 2 different lead singers from 2 different eras. Music and life will never be the same. 2 different sounds, looks, energies, vibes, and spirits. Both rocked hard in their own way, and both were infectious with unmatched musicianship, songwriting, and showmanship. People ask me all the time which era I think has the best songs, production, playing, vibe, and lasting legacy. It's clear to me that between the Roth and the Hagar eras, that was by far the greatest era. A hands down winner. Hello. The clutch in my wife's spare Range Rover has gone out. Please hit subscribe below to help. This is going to be just shy of $80,000. Thank you for your patronage, and thank you for watching Music Surgery with Dr. Bob. Well, that does it for this week. At the heart of all this discussion is the greatest rock guitar player and ambassador for guitar ever, Eddie Van Halen. I'm forever grateful to have experienced your music, Eddie. I'll see you the next time the doctor's in.